Mackenzie Michalski, a 31-year-old nurse from Portland, Oregon, who went to Budapest, Hungary for a fun solo trip and ended up losing her life in the most tragic and terrifying way. What was supposed to be an exciting adventure turned into a nightmare that no one could have expected. So I want to walk you through this story, bit by bit, and really dig into the details of what happened, who Mackenzie was, and the shocking truth behind her death. And as always, before we begin, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button so you never miss an update. Let's start by getting to know the woman we're talking about today, Mackenzie Michalski, or Kenzie, as her friends and family called her. She was a 31-year-old nurse practitioner from Portland, Oregon, and she worked in neurosurgery, which is no easy job. Neurosurgery requires precision, care, and a huge heart, and Kenzie had all of that. She was known for being super dedicated to her job, her patients, and for always going the extra mile. But here's the thing, she wasn't just a nurse. Kenzie was the type of person who was always helping others. Her friends said she had a huge heart, and she was always there for the people around her. She had that energy that made people feel like they were never alone. But beyond her work and all the amazing things she did, Kenzie also had another big love: traveling. She loved exploring new places, soaking in different cultures, and learning from the people she met along the way. Traveling wasn't just about sightseeing for Kenzie, it was a way for her to truly experience the world. And that's what led her to Europe in the fall of 2024. So, Kenzie had been traveling across Europe for a couple of weeks. She had already gone to Vienna, then Prague, and now she was in Budapest, a city famous for its beauty, history, and unique vibe. Kenzie loved it. Budapest is one of those cities that draws people in with its old-world charm mixed with a modern, lively atmosphere. She was staying in an Airbnb, enjoying the food, the sights, and of course, the nightlife. And on the night of November 4th, 2024, she went out to one of the most famous spots in Budapest, Simpla Kert, a ruin bar known for its eclectic decor and the fun, laid-back environment. The place is always buzzing with energy. It's a great place to meet people, grab a drink, and just enjoy yourself. And that's exactly what Kenzie did. She was there with some friends, having a good time, enjoying the night. But then, something went terribly wrong. Around midnight, Kenzie left the bar with a man. She was seen leaving with an Irish man, who we later find out is named LTM. This man would soon be central to the case. Now at this point, there was nothing suspicious about it. She was an adult, she was in a city she loved, and she was with a man she met at the bar. But when Kenzie didn't come back to her Airbnb that night, her friends started getting worried. And when she didn't show up for her flight the next day, that's when the panic really set in. As soon as Kenzie's friends realized something was wrong, they tried to reach out to her. Calls, texts, messages, they all went unanswered. No one knew where she was, and it didn't make sense. Kenzie had a plan to leave for her next destination, so why was she just gone? Her friends immediately contacted the local authorities in Budapest and filed a missing persons report. The Hungarian police wasted no time jumping into action, and they began tracking Kenzie's steps, starting with the security footage from the bar. And that's when they made the chilling discovery. The footage showed Kenzie leaving the bar with LTM and heading to his apartment. They walked together, seemingly in good spirits. But after that, Kenzie was never seen again. And that's when things really took a darker turn. Now, the police brought LTM in for questioning. At first, he denied knowing anything about Kenzie's disappearance. He said he didn't know where she was and hadn't seen her since that night. But the police weren't buying it. They pressed him more, and eventually, he confessed to something that would haunt everyone who heard it. LTM told the police that Kenzie had died in his apartment. He said it was an accident that happened during an intimate encounter. He claimed that Kenzie had died during sex, and it was totally unintentional. But that's not all. The investigation revealed some pretty suspicious behavior from him after Kenzie's death. Let's talk about what happened after LTM made his confession. According to the investigation, after Kenzie died, he didn't just call the authorities. Instead, he went into full cover-up mode. He cleaned his apartment, like really cleaned it, almost like he was trying to erase any trace of what had happened. But that's not the worst part. LTM did a search online for things like how to dispose of a body and how long does a body take to decompose. And then, to make matters worse, he went out and rented a car. He bought a suitcase, placed Kenzie's body inside it, and drove over 90 miles away from Budapest to a secluded area near Lake Balaton. He dumped her body in the woods, thinking that would be the end of it. But it wasn't. He tried so hard to cover his tracks, but the police were closing in on him, and they eventually found Kenzie's body on November 7th, just 3 days after she went missing. Can you imagine what Kenzie's family was going through? Her parents, Bill and Mary Michalski, were back in Portland, holding on to hope, waiting for their daughter to return. But nothing could prepare them for the news they would get. They flew to Budapest to help in the search, but when they found out what had happened, their world came crashing down. Kenzie's father, Bill, spoke to the media after the discovery, saying how much he loved his daughter and how she was taken from them too soon. He talked about how Kenzie was such a bright, caring person and how she was just starting to do so much in her life. She had so much potential, and it was all taken away in a single night. Now, Kenzie's story is heartbreaking, but it also serves as a reminder to all of us. It's a reminder to be cautious, especially when traveling alone. Even in places that seem safe, like Budapest, things can go wrong. You should always be aware of your surroundings, and you should always let someone know where you're going, especially if you're meeting someone you don't know. Traveling is amazing, but it comes with risks, and we have to make sure we're doing everything we can to stay safe. This case also brings attention to the larger issue of violence against women, something that we can't ignore. Kenzie's death, while tragic, is unfortunately part of a bigger worldwide problem. Women face dangers everywhere, and this story reminds us that we have to continue fighting for change, for safety, and for justice for victims like Kenzie. Even though Kenzie's life was tragically cut short, her family decided to turn their grief into something meaningful. They started the Mackenzie Michalski Foundation, which is dedicated to helping young people who want to go into healthcare, just like Kenzie did. It's a beautiful way to keep her spirit alive and help others reach their potential, just like Kenzie was doing in her own life. So, that's the story of Mackenzie Michalski. It's a tragic one, but it's also a story of love, loss, and legacy. Kenzie's memory will live on through her family, her foundation, and the many lives she touched during her short but impactful life. Thank you so much for watching today's video. I know it was a heavy one, but I think it's important to share Kenzie's story. If you want to support her foundation, you can find more details online. And if you're traveling, remember to always stay aware and safe. Rest in peace, Kenzie. We won't forget you. And to everyone watching, take care of yourselves and be kind to those around you. We'll see you in the next one.